and welcome back to the channel. And we're just going to let people get in here. We've had a few people in, and we've got an interesting publish for this one. So it's another one of our World Cup playthroughs, and this one we had a couple of people who the forums at the start of 2K23 when we announced, or later when we announced this competition, there were a few people who just got turned off the game and didn't come back for a little while, and I had a few responses to my invites that were a little later than maybe the deadline for signing up. And what I said to those people, there were a number of them. Thanks, Saucy. So what I said to those people was, if we have people dropping out, we had alternates as well, and we're going to still get the alternates involved. We will need them. So far, I've had about 5 people who have dropped. But if there were enough spaces, they could get in. And therefore, tpetro came in, and last year's winner of World Cup is back with Chebeague High. Now, we don't know anything about this one. As ever, I've not been seeing any of it. What's going on? We're going black teas, we're going west, and we're going high winds.
Why don't you do this to my eyes?
And part of the fun of this is I'm not going to announce to tpetro or anyone else which group he's going to go into. Obviously, he has an exemption. He had one from the start. So it felt like it was the right thing to do, to not deny people the chance to get into the contest just because they missed the deadline date because the game was so filled with issues. So what I wanted to do instead was get them involved, but also in a way that hopefully doesn't disadvantage anyone else. So we have some interesting autumny sort of trees. This takes me back to Ketchup Club, I think, which was his CC course from a while ago. Now, I think he says there's 2 courses on this plot, and there's stuff going on around there, I guess, as well. Cool. So he's going to finish that up. We've gone Delta. Got a really interesting mix of environments with the autumn stuff, as well as standard Delta. Lots of bridges. We like bridges. I'm not sure how I feel about the red trees. I always feel like they're very bright and need a lot of muting. That par 3 looks gorgeous. So he's been playing around with some of the new rocks as well, which is nice to see. Grass planting as ever, really good. Now with Petro courses, what you tend to get is some really classy, understated golf. Although he occasionally goes wild, as with Drinkwater. Obviously, we've got a lighthouse, a rocky lighthouse that's on its own, which is a nice touch. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Look at this. So, very interesting. Where do we go from here? Oh, we then play back the other side. Love the joined fairways and tees. Nice way of getting things in and out and making sure that we're not getting stuck. Full use of the new houses. Excellent. And a little mansion, of course. Right. I'm not entirely sure where on the plot we are. We're not going to look too closely at some of the houses around. We're a long way away. Yeah, we go back over there. So it looks like it might even be kind of an out and back. Maybe not. We've got a hole down here. There's some... Yeah, I'm very interested with this. Got to have a minivan and electric car, no less. That's one of those we've seen. And I saw the Clubhouse had some of the new planters on there, so, which is good. Now, I don't get why the chat isn't showing up even when people are chatting, but that would be fine. Okay, so first hole, par 4, small green. Big runoff here.
See how to hitting hazard.
I haven't mentioned a hazard. Yeah. And this is pretty standard for Petro as well. The greens are all about the internal contouring in a lot of ways. And it's very easy to overdo this. Thanks, trees. So you've got the little mound in the middle that feeds balls different ways. You have to be precise if you want to be on that little shelf or that little shelf, but you're not out of it, and you've got an interesting putt wherever you end up. We have water left, we have bunkers right. This is just pure hit a good tee shot. You've got a bit more space with 3 wood. But yeah, this one's just... That's It's a little bit of a knee knocker of a first tee shot. I do like the grasses, and we're rewarded with a short wedge in. I like the way you've planted on top of the remove heavy rough stuff. And one thing that I really like that you've done that we see a lot of people secrete. We've got multiple secret replacements actually. I'm just going to switch between these two just in case it now makes chat load. There you go. So now people on YouTube can catch those comments and actually know who I'm responding to. Petro's, I think he'll mix them up. Usually does, but yeah, he can definitely make the small greens work. Oh, that's an awful shot. But yeah, as mentioned at the start, there were a couple of guys. Petro is not the only one, which is the fun part of this. A couple of guys who had exemptions, invites, call them what you will, but just simply didn't see them due to the game having turned people off. And I didn't want to get them out of World Cup completely. Like, when it's a 3-month window, it seems harsh to say, well, you missed the sign up that was open for about 10 days because you were just away. So what I said was, if anyone drops out, you can be the people who come back in first, and then I'll backfill with alternates from there. And we will still need alternates, so I don't think anyone's being disadvantaged. Everyone who should make it in will. Lovely framing on this tee shot. I really like the depth and colours over this side and just the sparseness of the grass over here. But it's the bunkers that are what we see off the tee, which is always nice. Little double plateau. It really is a small green kind of guy on this course. Okay, somewhere down there. I don't think, for this pin, I don't really feel like I need an angle so much. Short par 5, and it's just hit the right tier on the green. Bits of contouring I really like are things like, on this one, how these two tiers, this back one in particular, is kind of getting over and then lower down. No, with the remove heavy rough brush, what I like that he did is not just removed all of it, like there's little patches of green within it, so it's a slightly softer use of the brush, and therefore it's not just completely burned out. So that's when it looks a little artificial, I think. Love the skyline green. This is, for a hole that only has 6 feet of elevation, this is therefore remarkably well rooted in that you can see nothing but the flag against the sky here, despite that we've got very little uphill. That's a really classy move. That looks awesome. Just simple, really well done. And we're going to go down into heavy rough. That's fine. We've got a little bit of a backstop. Assuming that doesn't travel up it, which it has turned. That's okay. We've got 1, 2 slightly awkward broken beads. That's okay though. Turned a little more than expected. 150 green speed, so he's finally learned the sort of green speeds we're going for. Yeah, that's true. That's done that. Okay, so now heading back down. Love that this fairway just keeps on turning. Like, simple things like these little bunkers and then the fairway turning. That bunker on the outside puts pressure on the tee shot as well. Really small greens, which I'm in a bit of a phase where I'm digging those at the moment. I think they add a lot and require some very precise shot making whilst feeling. I think a bit of balance is good, but this works nicely. Yeah, definitely need a precise shot to this pin. Any of them on this one. The obvious flip side with the small green is if you hit the green, you've got a birdie putt of decent length. So I'm as far away from the pin as I can be on this one. It's still 30 feet. It's not too bad. No, way overreading this. Gorgeous long sight lines. The only thing I've got at the moment is I'm still just not sold on the red trees. Everything else I'm happy with and works. I'd say another pretty standard Petro thing is we've had a lot of short fours at the moment, which Petro does this well. It gives you a lot of space to lay up. I could question whether you need this bunker, but it does work very well visually. Might just swing the fairway out this way a little bit more, give us a bit more space on 3-wood, rather than just kind of forcing that drive. Yeah, Petro plays very nice golf. We are jealous. Awesome green site. Another of his staples is there are almost always greens. Loads of them are dead at height with the fairway, so at grade, and it just gives this very classy look. Contouring around this one is superb. This could well be my favourite green in the contest so far that I've seen. I adore this. It's a shame, but also quite cool that we're coming out of the heavy rough, because that will show that we can bounce it in. Assuming we get over. Well, I had enough for that. Just died. Ah, yeah. Just... Hey, Brennan. So far, it's just, I would just say it's a really classy start. Load of par fours, which, again, kind of a Petro signature. Okay, we've gone drivable and we've gone 275. I think you've done the double water plane trick has been done really, really nicely around here. So the 2 water planes to allow us to put light rough all the way down to the water without having that edge. It really fits nicely. And the way you've blended that with the planted areas works very well. I think this might be maybe personal preference, but I think it's a comment we've had from a few judges is that we've seen a lot of designers do the sub 300 drivable par 4, which works really well actually for CC. I think for elite or like kinetic, it's less good when people are always having this driver distance. Just feels maybe a tiny bit tricked up's the wrong word. We've just seen it a lot, challenging that kind of partial driver. Minor one, the bridge is maybe a little. I don't love the bridge choice. It's maybe a bit in your face. Given how classy the rest of the course is, it feels a little bit more brash. But that is very minor. Hopefully stay out the bunker. Pin 2 is 266. Excellent. Lovely little micro contouring here. Like, this is one for people to take a bit of a note from. Like, this pin is really well protected and have a single red slope around it. It's on this. If you want to get it close, the leave is probably down here. If you're going right at it, you've got this tiny little bit to clear, and that's enough to make you think. Doesn't need much more than this. Yes, it really is. Oh, that blew right. Did not see that happening. Oh. It's done it again. Weird lie. It is, and it absolutely is. I tend to go towards the top end of that, but yeah, it is challenging. Love the kind of, ooh, there's a pin. The short combo is fun.
This is a good golf course.
It absolutely is. I would probably, just with how the game plays, I'd probably have given a little bit more fairway around the front, given that we're rolling the ball off. Only critique on this one. I love how low profile the bunkers are. Always have loved the way you do these. Planting's great as well. Very solid. Okay, so we have a another long bridge. Just about. Certainly got teeth for a short course. Oh, get there. Didn't hit it. Waterside planting also really strong. Curvy bridge, every contest needs them. Lighthouse framing is on point as well. Okay, so now we're heading through kind of rocky, really rocky country. Another short four. I'm enjoying the short fours. I feel we could possibly use a little variety at this point. Not that they haven't been varied, they have. But I think we could use a longer approach somewhere other than that solitary par 5. Another awesome green, really good green site. I really like that you're teasing that hole that we're going to come to later. Hillside bit here is just really cleverly done. Mean little double breaker as well. The greens are really tough. They're not doing too much, but there's enough there that you're going to be questioning pretty much every putt you have. I like that you've now gone treed in after the really wide approach on the previous one. The bunker styles may be changing a little bit. These are quite Rossi, and then we've had, I'd say, more. Not that we need to stick to an architect, but like they've kind of changed between what I would term as more like the core Crenshaw low sitting down ones to suddenly we're flaring, or we're adding a little bit more of a back lip. Nice to have a long four. Challenging long four, no less. It's really baiting us to go for this driver. I'll let you down. That might need to sit. Oh, wow. There we go. Nearly a prime C hazard hit into hazard. Slope plus wind, somewhere there. I like that you've gone with, it makes a lot of sense that you've gone with a bigger green here for the longer approach. And again, little slopes make sense. So like the fact that we've got here, but a little bit more of this, just so that little slope feeding it towards a back pin turns a good shot into a great one, which I like. It also kind of protects this little portion too. A lot of people think you can't do front to back on a long par 4, and it's not strictly true. Ah, almost hold it. I haven't hold anything so far. Okay, interesting. Yeah. Longer par 3. Greenwise feels it's not totally similar to the short that you had, but it feels kind of the same concept. I feel like for a longer shot, I might have wanted a slightly bigger target for this one, particularly seeing as we've just tested the really precise shot on that short. Nope. Obviously, a really good hole, though, and certainly treacherous. Mean little crown pin. Well, we can't hold a putt, but at least we got that one. Back to 2 over. Good variety in the settings of par 3s so far. That was better trees. interesting kind of punch bowl sort of complex here on a very short 4. Lots going on with this one. Loads of little pockets in the green. I can tell I'm going to really look forward to playing through multiple pin sets on this one. Don't worry, Ducker. I know.
I don't hate this.
No, I feel this one's maybe gone a little bunker heavy. Looking off the tee, we got a lot of bunkers kind of everywhere, and I might have looked at combining these two, maybe combining these two, and that would have cleaned up your sightline a touch. Just hit a little partial somewhere down there. Yeah, obviously hit right into the throat of all the bunkers. Clearly the strategy. I love the green complex though, and this part of the hole I adore. I think it's maybe a touch too cluttered in the landing zone there, but the approach is gorgeous. Can't hit a flop for love nor money. Great view down the coastline. Like, long views on Delta when you get them right are great. Still can't hole a putt. Finally, a par 5. Okay, so we can go this way, but we're going to end up with trees. Would you no, I get it is well defended. I wonder whether people might hit onto that green. I guess you could hit down to here as well, but it serves no real benefit. It would get you away from what is quite a choked tee shot. Certainly neither of them are easy, but interesting. Okay. Looks like we've got some tree trouble. But a really nice big kicker slope that we could use to try to get around it. Excellent. We'll look forward to that one, Jamie. Didn't quite get to the kicker, but again, just green so far really diverse. I'd say there's one or two that have been similar, but these are going to be like certainly some of the best greens I've played in the contest so far, if not the best set. We hold apart. Hey. Okay, couple of little houses. We've used some of the new English houses with solar panels. They do, and that's a really difficult thing to do because these slopes are so subtle that they're mounded way out. Like, the way this comes out here, it's like a 1 foot rise maybe, but he does low profile land movement phenomenally well. Another one of those little muffins that we've got, just gentle little floats.
No, I don't like it.
It's not very nice trees. Obvious strategy here, we want to be as far right as we can to try and get around that. Right is where the water is, and we're just going to take our chances with somewhere in the fairway. Oh, I think that was me rather than anything else. Well, we're in the fairway at least, and not in the water. And
just hit back a golf shot.
It does. Oh yeah, I hadn't seen some of these ones. Yeah. Tough to do. I mean, the beauty of an open green site, like this is that you have a way back to the hole no matter how bad a tree shot you hit. Oh, thanks, trees. Hit the hole.
Make better courses.
It's another uphill 3. I think if there is a weakness on this course, I'd say it's probably the par 3s. They're good, but as I said, they're kind of, so far they've kind of done the same thing. Just very small green, hit the correct part. I'd have liked to have seen a little more variety other than the setting. I do like the elevated green here. Could have dropped it down maybe a couple of feet, or raised this bunker up a touch. This one just feels a touch off. I don't know. That's the swing I wanted. The weather was great. Come on. Hole apart. Nope, still nothing. Okay. Jamie's promised us the town on 14 is great, so looking forward to it. Oh, look, we have used the new objects. Fish and chip shop, corner shop, pub. This is exactly as they intended. Oh, a little fountain and everything. We have put all of the new objects possible in one small little area. Here for it. Love, again, one major slope on the right hand side of the green. That's kind of all that defines this one. And yeah, you're always coming at it at an angle unless you can clear here, which I'm not sure we can, but we'll try. Well, we could, but not quite enough. Where's the clock? Well, yeah, I'm sure there'll be one somewhere around. It's always a clock on a World Cup course. Probably on the Clubhouse. Oh, stay up. That did well. Oh, well, there we go. Yeah, I didn't look at anything near the first tee. I just saw you used a lot of the green on yellow stuff. Yay! Still fighting around par. Yep. Another really interesting green complex. Nice to have a slightly longer hole. And again, the tree-lined corridor that this one's in sits really nicely. Yeah, I haven't been able to putt on these greens at all. They're really good and I'm struggling. It's not quite yeah. There we go. That's a bit better for you, Seb. It's not quite Moonrise K levels of putting and approach shots so far. The single yellow trees are standing out a touch. I think if you could have clustered them a little bit more, that might have worked a little better. Just they grab your eye a bit, and if anything's really grabbing your eye that you don't want, I always look at tweaking it. Grass in the background looks phenomenal. Good use of some of the, or possibly autogen, but stock delta trees certainly. Okay, par 5 going to this little green. That's so small. Bounce it. Thank you. Oh, we hit a rock. I do not have this shot. I'm going to go, though. Can't be much better. Okay. I feel like that's kind of where you're ending up a lot. That's looks like one of the least accessible pins. Actually, probably is one of the most accessible. And the back right. In fact, pretty much every one of them, the one that I'm on now. Yeah, the red. I would have lost the red trees, definitely. Made up my mind on that one at least. Well, go on. There we are. See, Seb, where were you? Love that green location. Tucked pin. I would like a bit more access to this with a 3-iron. Thank you, Seb. I appreciate you. Needs to keep coming. Still, that is about as good as I could have hoped for. I think this would have been a good candidate for a larger green, particularly with it is larger in comparison to the other par threes, but particularly given those were all small, and we're going in at 200 odd yards. I think you could have afforded a little bit more space here. Missed low, always missing low. Again, sits really nicely where it is. And 18 then. It's been a relatively short playthrough. I've not had that much to take out. Good way of crossing the road. I appreciate that you have not used the road as any sort of a hazard, and it's just crossing at a sensible location. Somewhere down the middle is fine. Yeah, the redder and autumn trees work a bit better here because they're clumped together a bit more. It's when they're just dotted on their own that they really stand out. Kind of a benign looking 18th green, but more consistent slopes. And it's more severe than it looks. Those are some bright lights. I'm not sure about the clubhouse. It's not quite to my taste. It's very bright, and there are a lot of windows in places that I don't think we should have windows. I like the inside, though. That's fun. Okay. The interior courtyard is cool. I agree. It's a good thing contests aren't judged on clubhouses. There we are. So when Seb turned up, things went well. Just had that really weird lie on that short par 4. Other than that, it was pretty solid round. Cool. As you can see, the servers are being really slow at the moment, so if anyone's struggling with those. Right. Loads and loads and loads of good for this course. What my main takeaways will be are just that I love the green complexes. I thought they're really good. Now, thanks, Panda. Even then, though, I still think for all the really good that was on the greens, and there's so much, I would have expanded a couple just so that hitting into the small greens can become quite draining. And they were really interesting and they were kind of varied, but I think the par threes could have used maybe, I would say I would have tweaked either probably 9 rather than 13, but 9, 6, 9, and 13, they are different greens, but they kind of felt like they were the same sort of size. And the only thing, particularly 6 and 9, kind of felt very similar. I know there's differences, but they felt that way. And I think we can test shot values slightly differently. And when you did vary green complex, the green pad sizes, I thought it really, really helped. I'd have liked to have seen a little bit more of that. I don't really have that much negative to say at all. And even then, it's kind of just like what pleases my eye a bit more, maybe. Um, things things like occasionally chucking a few too many bunkers. Could we join them? I think what you do really nicely is when it's understated and everything sits really harmoniously. So when there are some holes where all you see is bunkers, that might be something but as well. Otherwise, just kind of environment stuff. The bright autumn trees didn't really work so well for me. I think when you clump them together, they work a little bit neater. Otherwise, I might have liked a few slightly longer holes as well. Would have been or longer approach shots would have been the only thing. If we're looking at distances, it is a very short course. The back nine obviously looks a little longer, but that's really because it's just got an extra. That's to do with the par changing, nothing else. But like when 15 came up 462, it's still kind of a wedge shot. 17 was still kind of a wedge shot. Obviously, the wind will dictate some of that as well. Don't be afraid to go above 500 with par fours, because when we did with eights, like that was a really interesting hole. Yeah, no, glad you enjoyed it, and it's a ton of fun to play. I have no doubt that will do really well. Defending champion comes back and surprises everyone. So there we are. We will do another stream whenever the next of them. Cool. Yeah, I think they do that for some reason in this game. It's like tweaks ever so slightly, but don't worry, it's fine. Judges will play in different wins anyway. So yeah, we will be back whenever the next one drops, and I'll play a couple that time. But yeah, thanks for joining the stream, and see you again soon.